Hey, Chad, we're in your garage. What can you tell me about some of these cars?
Well, this here is a 68 Mustang notchback converted to a sedan race car in Southern California in 1972 or 3. I bought it from a friend who had it out in the desert for 20 years. And I said, one day I'm going to get it fixed. And I'm just starting to work on it. It's got a 351 Cleveland in it right now. We're going to change it to a Windsor. 4-speed, locker, rear end. We got mini lights for it on the front and back now. We're going to put those on. It was a fast car back in the day. It used to race Southern California, Riverside, Willow Springs, down towards San Diego, Las Vegas. It's got kind of a good history to it. He stopped racing it because Ford wouldn't sponsor him anymore. So he just parked it and started racing Datsuns because they were sponsoring him.
Well, may I ask you why you want to go to a Windsor instead of a Cleveland? I was under the impression Cleveland was the better motor.
Well, Cleveland's a great motor. It's just that they have oiling problems. And he went from a Boss 302 to a 351 Cleveland. Same heads, different bottom ends. And the 351's oil, they don't hold pressure when you race them. They get low oil pressure. And there's ways to fix that now. But back in the day, they didn't know. And so he raced it for about one race, and he said, I'm losing oil pressure, so he parked it. And that's when he switched over to another car. And so I had an extra Windsor sitting here. My brother got me going on it. He says, I'll buy the heads and manifold. I'll build the engine. Let's put it in this car. So that's what we're doing right now. Back here, I have a 1960 Fairlane. It's not a Starliner, just a regular two-door Fairlane. I bought it going to the junkyard. And I looked at it and I said, we can't throw this thing away. We can't waste it. I was going to put a 429 Cobra Jet that's over in the corner, but it's pretty tight on the headers because of the steering box. So I might put the 351 Cleveland in it. So we're going to do that. It's ready to pull. I got everything off it. I can pull it out. And it's got rusted floorboards. Other than that, it's pretty straight. I paid $2,500 for it. And it ran. I drove it. So after that, I parked it and had plans for it. Haven't got to it yet.
Then what's above it? What is this?
That's a Shelby GT350, 67. And it's my parents' car. I bought from them in 1974 for $1,800. And I've kept it with me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's got a brand new engine in it. I got the original engine over in the corner with the heads done and the block done. I just haven't put it back together. I'm using a 5-liter block, imported and polished heads. It was in a magazine article, and I bought it from the guy who did it. It's got a 4-speed. It's got a nodular rear end in it, just like the green car did. It's got more rust on it, but I'm going to fix the rust, and that's going to be pulled down probably in September. We'll get working on that. We'll get this thing, get the Trans Am car, A sedan done, and then we'll go to that. Now, next to it, up in the air, is a Boss 302. I've got primer. I'm sending it off in a couple weeks to a guy to paint it. The engine's ready. The transmission's ready. The rear end's not in it. I have to put a traction lock in it. Now it's got a spool.
And what year is the Boss 302?
It's a 1970, and we think it was a drag race car. It has frame connectors on it, had an oil cooler, and it's what they call a basic Boss 302. Nothing custom to it. It has standard doors, no console, no tack. It has a spoiler in the front, no wing in the back or louvers, so it's just a standard Boss 302.
Yeah, I remember them with the wing in the back and louvers when I was in high school.
Yeah, this one doesn't have any of that, but it does have the staggered shocks, and it's proof that it's a Boss 302, and the numbers match, so everything's good. The engine will not match. I just had a Boss 302 on the side. It's going to have NASCAR heads on it and NASCAR manifold. It's going to be a real good runner when it's done.
And then what do we have under it?
Under it's a 66 GT350. This car was bought by my brother in 1970 from a junkyard for $150. It was shell, had no doors, no front end, no trunk, and it was rusted out. It was black and gold, so it was a Hertz rent-a-car. Back in the day, you couldn't buy fenders to fix it, so he just went above the rust and built flared fenders for it. and did flares on the front. They're steel. He was going to race it, but then family got in the way, needed to buy a house.
It happens.
So it was white originally. He painted it white, so I bought it from him, and I repainted it blue. I've had it ever since. It's got a full cage in it. You got to climb in to get into the car.
That is a cage.
We took the dash out, and where the dash is, that's a cross member that goes for the cage. It's got all the trick suspension on it. It really corners well. It's got a Detroit locker in it. The vents function, the air scoops go to the brakes. It's got drum brakes in the back, discs in the front. It's a Boss 302 with a Budmore mini plenum, customized headers. It's got an oil cooler. We put this in to keep all the air into the radiator. It's got a 750 double pumper, Coney shocks.
That's a lot of carburetor for that engine.
Yeah, but it needs it. It's got a dual master cylinder off of a Fairlane. They originally came with single masters, so we changed that, and it's just a real fun to drive. Over to the next car is a 1969 Torino Taladega. It's a NASCAR.
And it's odd that a Ford product is petty blue. How'd that happen?
Well, Richard Petty drove Fords in 1969 because Plymouth was moving out. I don't know what the story with Plymouth was, that they didn't sponsor him, so we went over to Ford. And he finished second in the points behind David Pearson. He won a lot of races. This is probably not a Richard Petty car, but it came with two engines. It came with a tunnel port 427 and a Bosch 429. And
what's in it now?
Bosch 429. The tunnel port's sitting in the back, ready to go, but it's got a...
Look at that monster.
Yeah, it real tight in there to get anything in there. About 800 horsepower. It's been stroked out to 520 cubic inches.
Wow.
Yeah. I got all the parts. I just haven't got to it. Redid the brakes, make it safer.
Mm-hmm.
It's got drums, big truck drums from the 60s on it.
All the
front
way
and
around?
back. Oh,
Really?
yeah.
No kidding.
They're specially built pads. I don't know if we can get them anymore, but it's work in progress. We'll hopefully finish it, before I kick the bucket. Right over here is a 1998 Taurus Roush road race car. And it's the RCA car. The driver was Kevin LePage, and he bought it without an engine. He called up Roush and he said, "I bought this car. Where's the engine?" And he said, "Well, the original owner of the car who bought it, we didn't want him to drive it because he'd kill himself." So he left the engine out. And the engine is over in the corner over there, underneath that plastic behind the blue Shelby.
Right, I see it.
So everything's done except when they sell these cars or when they race them and you get TV Guide RCA car, RCA wants the hood because it's got the picture of the dog and the phonograph on it.
Yes.
So they want that to put in their museum. So that was taken off it. Another one was found. And my brother found the guy that was selling it, bought it. They mailed out here and then it was stolen.
Really?
Yep. Someone stole it. Some UPS got to UPS in Phoenix and it was gone.
Wow.
So he's building another hood for it. Hopefully he can find a decal that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that car is my brother's and his son's car. I'm the storekeeper for it. I hold it. So I'd like to drive this car. This would be the fun car to drive.
It looks fun.
Yeah.
And then what are you leaning on here?
This is a 63 T-Bird that I picked up about 6 months ago. A vinyl top, two-door T-Bird. They call them bullet noses. And it came with a 390. But when I bought it, the 390 was in there, but it wasn't tied together. There were parts all over the place. The valve covers were off of it. And so we had a feeling the engine was gone. So we took it out, checked it. The engine's junk. So we bought a 428 Police Interceptor for it. 390, 428, same thing. And it's ready to go. We just haven't had the time to get it put back together. We're going to do that probably in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then we're going to drive it. It's going to be, it's got 14-inch tires on it that are probably 6 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
This thing ought to burn the tire. We ought to be able to burn the tires off this thing in the first 20 minutes. It's got a Cruise-O-Matic transmission in it, which is not a C6, but a Cruise-O-Matic. And it should be some fun. We've polished out part of it. It'll polish out. It's just dusty now. We'll get it to look somewhat good, and we're just going to drive it, have fun.
Yeah.
Go to the car shows.
Yeah.
The interior is pretty good on it.
Oh, that's a great interior.
Yeah, so we're happy with that. We don't have to work on anything. So hopefully you get it running, maybe put some different rims on it, put a little bigger tire on it. And the other car, if anyone's interested, is just a Mazdaspeed. They only made 1,600 of them in 2003, and it's a 4-cylinder turbocharged. I got from my brother when he passed away. And I'm just keeping it because it's an Econo box. It's premium gas, but it gets about 32 miles to the gallon.
You're the guy to keep them.
Yeah, well, I'm not married, so the wife can't say anything bad.
And Chad, we're over in another garage. Can you tell us a little about this car?
I call it a continuation Daytona Coupe from Shelby. They started, I don't know what year, they started to build them. Right in the middle of it, he passed away. And so they closed it down, and all the workers that were working on it, I don't know how many they had out there, but they decided to take them and build their own Daytona Coupes. My brother picked up on a couple of them, one from a guy in Las Vegas and one from a guy in California. The Las Vegas one is the one on the rail up here on the top. He put it on a big I-beam rail to work on it and never got done with it. The one on the wheels he got from a guy in Southern California. I'm not sure what city it was, but had a full schematic of the whole car, full picture, the whole thing. And my brother has it now. You roll out and you can and figure out all the dimensions of the car. And so my brother's going to work on it and finish it. We got an engine and trans for it. It's going to have a 289 with a 6-speed transmission. The bodies are between a 289 Cobra and these is the frame and everything's pretty close to the same, except the front end has independent front suspension on it like a 427 versus a 289 has a transverse leaf spring in the front. I think the front end of this is carbon fiber. This piece is carbon fiber. The rest of it is fiberglass. And very light. It's got a Ford 9-inch rear end in it versus a Salisbury rear end they came with, or a Jaguar rear end. It's got an independent 9-inch Ford in it. And that drive shaft, look how long that drive shaft is. That's almost 18 inches long.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't want that drive shaft blowing up on you when you're driving it.
No, and I love these AC pedals because this is not an AC car like the original Coupe.
Yeah, it's got all the parts that are supposed to be on a Daytona Coupe. I got a windshield front and back. Doors are up there. There's some doors over there. There's stuff in there. Had 2 gas tanks on it. Depending on whether you were at a Daytona or Le Mans, that's how they did it.
Yep.
And it's got knockoff Halibrands on it, just like original. And this is what makes the Daytona Coupe, the cut-off back end.
Looks like somebody took a big knife and just cut it off.
Just cut it off. And later on in life, Peter Brock was talking about him, and he says, we could have made him a lot faster if we would just continued the nose all the way back to here and put a point on it. Because in the stream, it would have not caught all the turbulence in the back.
Why didn't he do that, you think?
Oh, he didn't know.
Oh.
If you notice back in the 70s when you saw the long tail Porsches,
yes.
After the Ford GTs were done, they all had those long tails on them. They figured it out. One of the many projects we have.
Well, you have a lot of projects.
Yes, I do. My friend Mark Francis has bought this one. He's going to build it.
Oh, Mark has this car.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I know Mark.
He's the guy with the blue 427 Cobra. He's going to build one, and Scott's going to build one. And hopefully we get those two together, they can get it done quicker.
Well, Mark finishes a car. It's as original as if Cobra built it himself.
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy is really...
He's really talented.
He's a
yes,
detail orientated.
Yes, he is. The other car over to your left is a 1966 Comet drag car. I picked it up in Wyoming. Haven't run it yet. It was a deal, so I said, what the heck, I'll buy it. And eventually we'll run it probably next year.
Yeah.
It runs. I've had it running. It's nothing I'm going to do to it. I'm going to try it first. Got plexiglass everything.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, everything's plexiglass. And they took the dash out of it, which was a sad thing because you probably want a dash in one of these things. So I bought a dash. I'm going to rebuild and put the dash back in it. But it's very light. I think it only weighs 2,700 pounds. And had drag sheets on it. It did low 11s. So I'm hoping to get at least in the 12s.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow it up right away.
Right.
Yeah, it's got dual that'ries, very light, and nothing in it. It's just be Be a fun car to just play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Race Mark and his Falcon. He's got a drag car Falcon. We'll race for pinks.
If anybody has any questions, put them in comments because I know people have to have questions.
Yeah, we like to read the comments. Whether good or bad, we don't care.
That's right.